So Lac Solace is in the Maine Loire region of, they call it southwest France, I call it central west France. It's just below the Loire Valley, 5 minutes from our other lake, Lac It's a triangular shape, it's man-made, about 35 years old, mature, but it's not forested or wooded like Coron is. The trees are fairly young in comparison, and as a result it means that the lake is very, very fertile. It's not covered in any silt whatsoever, and as a result you're looking for different sort of makeup of the lake bed. The main makeup of the bed, we've got big clay patches, lots of gravel all along this inside margin where the main swim will be, and then we've got little patches of silt and softer clay out in the middle, as well as a little gravel bar in the right hand corner and some sand patches. It's a fairly shallow lake, just under 3 acres in size. The average depth is probably 5 feet. You can wade the whole way around the margin, which is great for placing baits. You can walk around, flick it out, and give it a decent helping of bait. At the moment, and I'm sure it will continue, these are big fish on average. They love food. I'm feeding them a mixed diet. I've got BP millings pellet going in, a lot of it, a lot of maize, flaked maize, and a lot of boilie as well. As well as the makeup of the lake bed, there are some fluctuations, like the little gravel bar I mentioned, steeper shelves, little holes. There's some carp craters that I find as I've been swimming around as well. There's also a decent amount of pondweed, curly leaf pondweed I think it's called, which is very rare for this region, especially growing in the deeper areas of the lake. So great for oxygenation, and it's absolutely rammed and natural. So at this time of year it's not that complicated from a fishing point of view. I've had a couple of walks around this morning knowing that I was going to flick the rods out, seen a fish in the weed, thrown a chod at it, and as you'll see, had an absolute bruiser literally 30 seconds after it hit in the water. It must have taken the chod on the drop. And yeah, really chuffed away with him. The weed is not so dense that you'd have to worry about it as long as you keep a tight line. Your line just cuts through it and it floats off, and it gets caught up in the margin somewhere on the end of the wind. Swim wise, there's going to be one big double swim, which will have a little shelter behind it. It is very open down here, there's not a huge amount of shade, although we will be planting some trees around that swim, so that will give you a bit of shade, somewhere to socialise, have the barbie and stuff. As you can see behind me, you've got nearly 2 acres of meadow between the entrance and the lake. It's all totally private, no one can get anywhere near the lake, and it's gated as well. So if you're after total tranquility, total peace of mind, that everything's secure, exactly the same as Coron, then this might be what you're looking for. So apart from the big double swim, which will be on this bank that I'm fishing now, there's going to be a small swim here where I'm fishing, which will be called the inflow, funny enough, because there's a small inflow to my right here in the corner, and you've got the gravel bar out there and the sort of the only snags that the fish could get into technically. On the other bank you'll have 2 small swims. One's called Wallace's, one of them is called the Old Jetty. They won't be able to take massive, great big sort of 2-man bivvies or Oz tents and things like that. They're for people like myself, I guess, that travel with a brolly sized sort of super brolly or Titan brolly like I do, and want to keep it low key and fish light. There's a track running all down this main bank where you come in, so once you've picked your swims, you can drop your gear off here. The other 2 will require you to carry them, you won't be able to drive around that back bank, but you can park in one corner of the lake and one or the other corner, so it's no more than 100 yards really to either swim. So you can drop your gear off, and then there's a parking spot near the cabin. There's 2 cabins on site, and 2 toilets. The cabin, the original cabin that was here but you know, before we got here, is where you're going to have your dining table, your kitchen area, and a little seating area. It's got big glass fronted French windows which look out onto the jetty, like a bay little corner in front of it. So that's a really nice place to socialise and where we'll meet when you first arrive. We also have a second cabin, which is what houses the shower and the eco toilet, the composting toilet. It's a big cabin, it's brand new, and like it is at Coram, we'll keep it spotless. It won't stink. It'll always be toilet roll, and it'll be well looked after, like you know, like you come to expect from us and the way we run our fishery. The water, there's no mains water down here. There will be mains electric. The water comes from a borehole and borehole pump. So from drinking water wise, it's worth bringing plenty of water with you. The supermarket's 5 minutes up the road. There's also in that town takeaways, and as we found out the other week, one of them delivers. So that's proper handy. Pizza, burgers, kebabs, beer, desserts, all sorts they deliver. So we were pretty chuffed with that. And as I say, the supermarket's in that town as well, which is only 5 minutes away. So let's talk about the stock. As you know, or hopefully this video will answer, Lac Solace doesn't open until next March 2020. We wanted to be able to feed them, let them acclimatise to their new surroundings, which sometimes can take months, sometimes can take days. Luckily here, they've settled in very, very quickly. And although we only stocked 150 originally, there's already been 4 caught, and I think 2 of the upper 40s haven't actually obviously been caught yet. So it's hard to say. I don't want to promise anything, but I would be confident in saying that there will probably be 5 or 6 50s in the lake by the time we open in March. There could be more. There'll be plenty of 40s. I would imagine all of the upper 30s, of which there were 10 or 12, should be 40, 42, 43 by the time we open. And then we have a handful of smaller, younger fish, C3s. I think there's probably 5 or 6 of them, and a handful of C4s, which are upper doubles and mid 20s respectively. So far the average weight's probably been nearly 40 pounds already. I've just had one bite, as you'll see at the end, which was well over 45, maybe 47, 48, and they're all, you know, instantly on the food. They're all over the lake, and they're fighting and looking really well. So it seems they've settled in very well. In total, including the 5 new fish that will be going in this coming winter, so before we open, there'll be 5 mid 30 to mid 40 commons going in. We've only got 1 common at the moment, or 2 commons at the moment. So I wanted to make sure there was a few commons as well, and there'll also be a couple of mid double grassies going in, just to keep the foliage in check. The whole plan on this water is for experienced anglers who aren't after run after run after run, and are looking for big healthy fish. If you look on the website www.lacsolace.com, there's a price page there with you know, bait packages, 5 kilo bags, 10 kilo, 20 kilo, etc., and the reductions available. We can have that all waiting for you, same as the particle and the pellet, like we do at Coram. You know, if you want to go with a bait that, 1, takes the hassle out of it, 2, is no more expensive than most of you can buy in the UK, and you know they've seen, then we can have that all ready and waiting for you. So that's Lac Solace. Stay tuned after I've stopped rambling. Have a look at the fish that I've had today. I think a few of them have spawned without me realising. This one had a bit of a beaten up tail, this chunk, so thankfully I've got him on the bank and given him a good treat of the medication that we supply in each swim. and also have a look at a few sort of scenic bits of video from around the lake, different swims, get a feel for the Solace vibe, which is very chilled and as natural as we can make it. So that's a little bit about Solace. Hope you enjoy a bit of footage coming up. See you soon. My whole plan was to come down this afternoon, do a little bit of video about introducing the lake, and you know, the sort of stock and what people can expect, and obviously put some rods out as well in the hope, you never know. Saw one show, dog in the lake with me, saw one show sort of after a couple of laps of the lake, decided to go where I am now, which is going to be, decided to go where I am now, which is basically going to be the inflow swim, a small single swim. Stuck a chod on it, 50 baits, and before I'd even got back to put the rod on the rest, it's gone. Never you mind.